What are we going to train today?
Today we're going to do some handstands and a lower body mobility, and we're going to finish off with a little challenge. And some press.
One of my favorite things about lower mobility and handstand day is you need no equipment, so you can do it from home. You can come in the studio away from the busyness of the gym, and it's just a kind of a breath of fresh air to your training. So we're going to be working on some press today, handstand press, and also some alignment drills. But as we go through it, we'll also give some easier variations so that you can kind of follow along and do some of it yourself, no matter what level you're at. You ready to get into it? Let's get into the warm-up.
Okay, so in today's session, we're going to be working on a handstand press. Before we get into kind of press work, we kind of typically like to work on the alignment, that's using the wall or using the floor. And as a beginner, this will be your best friend anyway. So you're going to be doing a lot of drills on the wall, whether that's just holding, whether that's practicing alignment, whether that's kind of building up yourself to the press. But typically long extended holds we like to do on here for extended periods of time to build up the endurance, the alignment before we get into the freestanding stuff. So typically handstands for us are supersetted with some kind of mobility work for the lower body. Or in this case, it's going to be a little bit of freestanding handstand, entries into handstands, and then some press work for us. So yeah, the first drill that we do is an extended chest to wall handstand. So typically people, beginners especially, find it A, difficult to get into a chest to wall handstand, and B, difficulty coming out of it. So I mean, the easiest way obviously, and the way they're going to build strength, is to start as far away as you're comfortable and only walk as far as you're comfortable. So even if you're here, you can still work on your alignment. Posterior pelvic tilt, butt is squeezed. Pin your ribs in. So think about squishing your pelvis into your chest and pushing away from the ground. Hands are shoulder width apart, you're pushing tall. And then as you get more comfortable, you can walk closer to the wall. You know, as close as you can to get that really nice kind of alignment. And you want to hold this for, build up to being able to do 60 seconds, either accumulated or at once, or, build up time, extended times. For us, we hold anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes per set. And then when you're coming out, you want to make sure that you're still not too fatigued to walk out, so that you can walk out in little steps back to the floor. Or essentially, you can just cartwheel out. So if I was here, I can just lower one leg to the ground and come out. So beginners should really work on entry and exit out of the wall as well. Are you ready?
So we've got the timer ready, so you can't cheat. We're gonna go 5 sets of 1 minute.
2 minutes.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 sets of 2 minutes. We've got a timer ready here. If you can't do 2 minutes, it doesn't matter.
Start off with 30 seconds.
Start with 30 seconds.
Start off with on the floor, holding positions. We have a lot of videos that you can check out on our Instagrams as well.
Mm-hmm. And the main thing with this, like when you're doing holds on the wall, if you're just getting started, try and make all your sets a consistent amount of time. So don't like overdo it on the first set, you do like 50 seconds, but then you're burnt out, and the next set you're only able to do 20, 30 seconds. You wanna get it consistent. Like consistent 30 seconds is better than like 50 seconds, 40 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Just try and keep it consistent and then add 5 seconds on each week.
Mm-hmm. You can also accumulate time, so don't be pressured to achieve the time
ready?
Straight up. Ready? You start the timer when you get up on the wall. So we're gonna go 2 minutes, yeah?
2 minutes. And also, remember to breathe when you do this.
Shallow breathing, right? So it's like kind of like not deep breaths, it's small breaths through your nose.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, come on, sideways.
How does that feel?
Fatigue.
It's pretty fatiguing. Also, when you do this properly, like you're already feeling your lats as well. Lats and shoulders. And we did upper body strength and mobility 2 days ago.
The upper body day killed me.
If you haven't watched that, go back and check that one out.
My lats are still fucked from that. So we just finished our second set of our 2-minute holds on the wall. We're really feeling that, especially in the core, the alignment. So now we're gonna each do a minute hold, supersetted with a single leg good morning. So I'm just gonna try to take all of the sensations I had on the wall, all of the cues that I was kind of giving myself, and I'm gonna try to replicate that in a freestanding handstand. Josh will time me so I don't cheat.
And obviously, if you can't do this, you can just do more sets on the wall for now.
You can, or you can just balance for however long you can and then accumulate time.
Ready?
When I get up, you start the timer.
You up?
Up.
Let's go.
I felt like my shoulders just didn't have much push. How was that line?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I felt like I could have extended a lot more and pushed a lot more. Shoulders are very fatigued. Are you ready for your turn?
I'm ready. It's actually been a minute since I've done these, so I'm hoping.
Has been a minute, so now the pressure's on.
The pressure is definitely on.
And you have to keep up with my time.
All right, ready?
Ready? I'll start the timer when you're up. Okay, and begin. Keep pushing tall. 47.
Every time when the camera's sticking to it.
54. 2, 1, come down.
Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
How'd it look?
It looks good. There's a slight improvements you can make, pointing your toes, pushing up a little taller. You have very wide shoulders, so it looks like your hands are positioned really wide.
I find it a lot easier when I can see the timer down here. When you can't see the time, it's like you don't have a clue where you are.
You have to count in your head. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
And then it's also a mindset, like once you're in, you've got it locked in, like you think, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up.
That's right.
Ready?
Yeah, ready. We're gonna superset the freestanding handstand with the single leg good morning. And the reason we do this is so that we can prime the hamstrings for our press work later on. When it comes to the press, it's important to prep the hips in terms of like forward folds and compression, but also the hamstrings so that you can have that freedom to drive your hips on top of your shoulders when you go into a press.
You'll probably see this come up quite a lot in our training as these vlogs go on, and that's just because it is the king
of hamstring
mobility. So as you can see, Vanya's doing single leg. I've got foot assisted. I'm assisting with my right foot for balance, but I've added load. So they're both equally as good. Personally, I prefer adding load and assisting myself with the other leg, just because there's less to think about and you can really focus on getting that stretch deep in the hamstring. But there are also other benefits to doing it the way Vanya's doing it.
I prefer it this way because it really forces you to work on your balance, which is a very big component of mobility and stability as well. But also because I feel I can isolate my hamstring a lot more when I'm not adding load. Because remember, your knee is fully locked in this exercise. There's no bend like you would do a traditional good morning or a Romanian deadlift. It's completely locked knee, isolating the hamstring and focusing on that posterior part of your leg, all the way from the glute down to the Achilles. You're gonna feel this one.
I did 8 reps on both sides.
I've actually lost count. But typically we do 10 and then we pause for 10 in that bottom position where it hurts the most.
We like to get these in at least twice a week. So it goes in really well with lower body strength days and also mixing with handstand days.
Ooh, hurts.
Feel it?
Feel it.
Cool, that's superset 1. So this is pretty much how the workouts start. We do the holds on the wall. We do some freestanding drills, supersetted with our first lot of mobility, which is single leg good mornings to open up the hamstrings. This transfers really well over into handstands as well. I feel like once you've done your first set of this, your second set of handstands become a lot easier for some reason.
Yeah, even kick-ups are better. So your hamstrings will be more open, you can kind of get into that position better. Kicking up becomes much easier, you feel like you have more freedom in the hamstrings, stacking your hips on top of your shoulders, etc. Okay, so we've just finished our first superset of handstand holds with single leg good mornings. Now our second series will be a press element. For me, that's going to be jumping into a press from a straddle position. And for the lower body, it's going to be straddle ups, which work your compression. So it's super good to prep you for the press. For me, the press has been a long and difficult journey. It's only recently that I've actually got the press from the floor. Before that, it's taken me a very long time to understand the concept of stacking your hips on top of your shoulders, bringing your shoulders forward, and kind of having that strength to lift yourself up. So if you are struggling with the press, stay committed, it will come. It's just a matter of understanding, obviously, how to stack that body and how to compress everything and how to articulate the legs up. So an exercise which really helped me along the way was learning just how to kind of guide myself with a hop up until I get my hips on top of my shoulders and then actively bringing my legs up into a handstand. So this is kind of like what I call a straddle entry, and then lowering down as slowly as possible into an eccentric kind of press. So this part takes a little bit of time to understand how your legs are supposed to come around you and connect at the top. And obviously now you can see the importance of being flexible. So being able to straddle your legs wide being able to get your hips on top of your shoulders. So this is why we train flexibility in conjunction with our handstands. 3. That's my set done.
Okay, so my press variation, I'm gonna do the pike press. So similar to what Bryony did, except my legs are gonna be together. I think technically this is harder, but I just prefer it. I think it feels nicer. 3 sets of 5, I'll be pretty happy with. Let's see how we go.
You want to think of like really coming up onto your tiptoes and transferring the weight onto your hands. So like a great starting thing like to work on is just transferring weight here and come back. And it looks like all the strength is coming from your shoulders.
And there is some strength coming from your shoulders, but when it's done properly, like there shouldn't be a lot. Most of the strength is actually coming from your hips. It feels as though you're like trying to crush something between your legs and your core, which sounds kind of backwards because you're trying to move your legs away from your core, but that's just kind of what it feels like.
Let's see how we go.
How do I look?
It looks very good.
3 sets of 5.
Yeah, that's strong.
So that's what you can aim for. Another way you can make it easier, like if you do have quite a lot of strength, but not quite here yet, it's really good to get a surface. You can make it easier by, the higher the surface, the easier it's gonna be.
You can be like here, and now you've got less
traveling for your legs, basically. You can bring it up to hip height, so you start in like a L shape, handstand, legs come across horizontal to the ground. And then even just lifting there is gonna help build a lot of strength. And it's actually very hard, even if you've got a wall to assist you. But play around with it. I would honestly start getting used to the sensation of transferring weight between your legs, your feet and your hands. You can do a little on the spot like I did earlier. You can also do little walks. And at first it might be little jumps and that's fine. But just try and make it as controlled as possible by squeezing the fuck out of your core. Hit. Something to play around with anyway. And we're gonna superset the press variation of this workout with
A straddle up. My favorite exercise for everything. For pancake, for developing the splits, for strengthening the adductors. Okay, so the goal of this exercise is to move through the seated position of a straddle into standing with minimal use of your hands. So you really want to be using your legs as much as possible in this exercise, learning how to tilt your pelvis, learning how to use your adductors to squeeze your feet into each other to help you come up and also down. Beginners would elevate their butt onto a box so that they don't have as much kind of like length or height to travel, so it'll be much easier. But this exercise, as you can see, starts off a little bit rusty, but the more reps you do, the better it will get. The more sensation you'll develop in how to articulate that pelvis and how to also use your legs to stand up. So this is also quite intense on the ankles, as you can see, because you have to kind of press yourself into the floor and your feet into each other. But it's all about rolling that pelvis up to standing, where you come into a position of an isometric middle split hold. You hold the last set, last rep for 10 seconds before coming out.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so I don't quite have as much range as Vanya, as you can see, but to be on the ground, you basically need to be able to get far enough forward to be able to drive your hands into the ground, lean forward and drive your hands into the ground without just falling back like that. So if you can't do that, obviously you want to elevate your butt, like Vanya said, to sit on like a block. The higher the block, the easier it's going to be. I also wouldn't recommend using socks on a surface like this. It's slippery and it makes it harder, but I don't have appropriate shoes for it, so we're gonna give it a go. How many reps did you do?
I did 10 and I paused for 10 in the last rep. This is really good actually, much better than you used to do it. Good, try to come down slower though. Yeah, like when you sit your butt back, you want to do it as slow as possible. Like I say, like the floor is lava. So you want to test how hot it is before jumping your butt down onto it.
I'm 5.
Nice. Drive with your legs. As you can see, it's quite an intense exercise strength-wise, because you're using your whole body to lift yourself up, squeezing every muscle, engaging. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how real flexibility is built. Hold it for 10.
I don't know if that looks hard, but I can assure you that is very hard.
Looks good. All right, so far we've done our hold, our handstand hold. We supersetted with our single legged morning. Then we went to series B, which was jump into handstand, me through a straddle, Josh through a pike press, and supersetted that with straddle ups. And now for this set, I'm gonna do strict press using my little helpers here to elevate my feet.
How do they help?
These help, they just give you that little bit of extra oomph so that you're not doing it from the floor, which is much harder. So the elevation helps a little bit. Like when I started working for my press, I was doing elevation from like hip height basically. And over time I would lower down the elevation blocks until I was on the floor. But still I like to use them because it just gives me that little edge, this little confidence. Like if I'm not feeling strong like today, I'm using these and you can see how the elevation just helps stack my hips on top of my shoulders so that I can drive my legs out. So I'm leaning forward and there's gonna be a point where you feel like you just float off.
If press to handstand is something you're working on and you're trying to build that strength in the hips, a really good one to work on, which I feel like helped me a lot, was toe to bar, hanging toe to bar, really strict. Because when you look at a toe to bar, it's essentially a press, but upside down. Or this is a toe to bar, but upside down, I guess.
So for me, I like to do these in single reps. A rep, then break, rep, then break. Because obviously it's a skill that I've only recently kind of acquired, and I'm still not extremely proficient in it where I can do reps and reps with quality without fatiguing. So for me, it's one press, have a little bit of a rest, second press, and typically I like to do 3 to 5 reps in one round before going on to my mobility exercise. And another thing that I found that helps is when you're leaning forward, I like to breathe out. And this kind of breathing out helps me relax. And I feel when I'm relaxed, I'm lighter. So I don't feel as heavy. So I will take my breath in, and then just at the point when my toes are about to lift off, I'll breathe out, and I'm gonna feel like super light, like I'm floating. And you can see I over-leaned there, and that's why I kind of fell forward a little bit. I didn't stack myself enough on top of my shoulders. Whew.
Good job.
5. All right. Your turn.
We rolling?
We're rolling.
So I'm gonna do straddle press as well. I feel like for this to look really clean and really aesthetic, you need to have like a really good middle split. I don't, but we'll see how it goes. When you're learning any skill, doesn't have to be this. A great way to learn is to film yourself and to watch the footage back straight after. It really helps you build up that awareness of this, how it feels to how it actually looks. So yeah.
Nice.
5.
Gronk. What does gronk mean?
No idea.
G-R-O-N-K, gronk.
But you just called me a grunk.
I didn't. I said gronk. But what does it actually mean? I don't know what it means.
If anyone knows what gronk means, comment down below. Let us know.
All right. So
What are you gonna do here?
I'm gonna do an elevated straddle sit. Okay, so this one really good for your hip flexors and strengthening those hips. Also very difficult, but will help your press and will help even more advanced skills such as the shoulder press. So I'm going to try to accumulate 15 seconds.
This is ridiculously hard, by the way.
I think that was 12. Cramps in the quads are very normal, especially when you're first starting. But yeah, very difficult exercise because you have to involve a lot of straight arm pushing as well as active hip flexibility and strength. So it's bloody hard.
Okay, I'm gonna try and get 15 seconds as well. It probably won't look as clean as that. But before I do, I wanna show you some easier variations that you can try. So you wanna start in a straddle, a seated straddle position on the floor. If this is too hard, because I know for some people like it's hard to even sit like this, like if you're kind of way back like this, I would elevate your butt so you can at least get your body vertical. But yeah, sit in a straddle position. I'm gonna go one hand either side of this leg, point my toes, quads are tight, and I'm gonna lift this heel up as high as I can. So I'm just gonna go pulse, 2, 3, 4 for about 10 reps. Now you will really feel like cramping in this, and that's perfectly normal. So you can kind of do it in stutter sets. I don't have to go for like 10 to 15 reps, and you can break it up. Like if you can do 4, then you really have to stop, 10 seconds, go again, keep going until you get to 10 to 15. If that's a little too easy, you can also do both legs at the same time. So you can just have both hands in the middle and here. What you really don't want to do when doing this is use momentum. So you don't want it to look like this. When you're kind of like pushing yourself up, it's an easy way to kind of cheat. You want this to be like really strict. And it's hard to discipline yourself to do that because it's so easy to cheat, and 2, it's such a hard movement to perform, even though it looks so straightforward. But yeah, that's just something for you to start. You can also have your hands behind you. This actually makes it a little bit easier as well. So you can kind of lean back and then 1, 2. That's also a good place to start, but yeah, play around with it. 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh,
Man, that burns.
what's going on?
What was that, 3?
3.
Let's go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're gonna try for 7 more seconds. Yeah, it's a bitch, this one.
Jesus, this burns.
I know, but we don't do it enough. Can't complain.
It's been a long time.
7 more seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more. 1, 1.5.
So that's a good example of if you can perform a movement, but perhaps it's been a while since you've done it and it looks a bit like that, you can kind of just break it up. So you still get the amount of volume in that you can, like 12, 15 seconds, whatever that was. But you kind of take rests as needed. Now, when you like stop between, you don't want to take any more than like 5, 10 seconds rest. If you do like 5 seconds and like you literally can't get back into the position, it's probably a pretty good cue that you shouldn't be working on that movement just yet. Or you can just drop set it. So you can just do the 5 seconds here and then do your remaining 10 seconds on the floor like I just showed you. So yeah.
Yeah? So for my second set, I want to challenge myself by doing the full 15 seconds. And you're gonna count for
She wants
me.
to make me feel even worse about my slop.
And I am no, because it's bad, all right? So you're gonna count for me.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 and a half.
Oh, you can feel your legs
15.
dropping lower and lower.
How does it feel?
It's fatiguing. But also, you know, you protract a lot more than me. So your shoulders are a lot more rounded, you're leaning a lot more forward, which is important in this exercise.
Why don't you do that?
I like that kind of straight arm pushing strength. This is also the reason why like you could get a shoulder press a lot easier than I could, because you're able to protract a lot more, lean forward over your kind of shoulders in that angle. You just have to work on your hips. I got better hips than you.
I'm pretty sure I can still press.
Pretty sure you can, yeah.
It just might not be too clean.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we got for day 4. We were planning on maybe doing more.
Yeah, but we're really fatigued. Like we can hardly hold ourselves up in a handstand. I haven't eaten a morsel of food from last night. Not even a water.
Let's go and eat.
So we're gonna go get a bite. And we're gonna finish off with a little challenge that we promised you. That's gonna be wall runs, something that we like to do for conditioning. Typically we like to challenge our time on there. Today I think we should just do 2 minutes.
We're gonna get some lower body strength and more mobility tomorrow, so stick around for that. Let's finish with some wall runs. Thanks for watching, we'll see you tomorrow.